Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. This is Tihada Jadanes, and I am your reporter for today. And my topic would be all about materials and resources in teaching prose and assessment in teaching prose. Materials and resources in teaching prose. So first, let's define what is prose. Prose refers to an ordinary form of spoken or written language without material structure as distinguished from poetry or verse. So when identifying a piece of writing a prose, the piece should be written in a typical straightforward manner. It will follow strictly grammatical structure rather than a mirror of a verse pattern. So prose refers to an ordinary form of spoken or written language without metrical structure as distinguished from poetry or verse. When identifying a piece of writing a prose, the piece should be written in a typical straightforward manner. It will follow strict grammatical structures rather than mirror a verse pattern. On the other hand, teaching prose means teaching reading with comprehension. Reading with comprehension helps the learner to acquire a new vocabulary and content word. The power of comprehension can be promoted through reading and listening. Teaching prose enables the students to understand the passage, to read fluently, to enrich their vocabulary, and enjoy reading and writing. And for the students learning for more about prose, teaching materials and resources are important as it can support students' learning and increase student success. It helps to create a visual and interactive and experience for the students ideally. The teaching materials will be tailored to the content in which they are being used, to the students in whose class they are being used, and to the teacher. And teaching materials come in many shapes and sizes, but they have in common that is the ability to support students' learning. So here are the materials and resources that can be used in teaching prose. First would be printed materials. Printed materials such as textbook, module, handouts, these are the materials that are readily available on a wide variety of topics and in many different formats. They are also handy and not require equipment and electricity. These printed materials can be used to enhance the learning of the students in prose, as it contains lesson and various pieces of a prose, such as fiction and non-fiction stories, plays, and essays. So another materials is the lesson plan. Teachers a daily guide. A lesson plan is the structure road of map, which or what the students need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the class time. Then you can design the appropriate learning activities and develop strategies to obtain feedback on the students' learning. And in this, where the teacher put the flow and what should be the lessons. And next would be the curriculum guide. A curriculum guide is a structured document that delineates the philosophy, goals, objectives, learning experience, instructional resources, and assessment. That comprise a specific educational program. And next would be PowerPoint presentation. This is also important as this will help the learners as well as the teacher to present a lesson in various pieces of prose in the class. Next would be videos. Videos are also important in teaching prose. These are the various pieces of prose that are in the video forms. It will help the students to visualize the various prose piece for them to understand it more, and it caught this attention since they will concentrate on watching and understand the story that you showed to them via video. And another would be graphic organizer. In any type of visual presentation of information, This will help students to physically see relationships between ideas of prose. It allows students to create their own visual presentation and presentation of information, and pushes them to internalize and apply the information, which requires more thought than a simple recall. This will enhance to understanding of students to various pieces of prose that they have read or watched. And another would be teaching aids. So in teaching aids, any device that help teach, the devices that can traditional item such as blackboards, um, planner board, and tablets, as well as mobile devices such as um, projector and also internet. Also, they are the resources that can be used to teaching prose. Students can now actually read, watch, and download the various prose piece in the internet anytime they want, as long as they just have a connection or data. So, teaching materials and resources are important in teaching prose, as this is the way of teachers to develop their lesson to their students. It helps them to gain the attention of the learners to learn more about prose. It also includes the active learning and participation of the students to learn more. And it actually helps them to meet the objectives outcome with these materials and resources. Students can also do their jobs even if they are not inside the four corners of the classroom. And yeah, they can enhance the learning and knowledge in the prose, as well as for them to appreciate and understand more. So next topic would be assessment in teaching prose. So anyway, the meaning of assessment to better understand the significance is, or its significance in teaching prose. So if you're going to define assessment in general, basically it is the systematic basis for making inference for the students' learning and development. So it has the presence of analyzing, interpreting, collecting information, and it is to upgrade the students' learning and development. So assessment is an association in teaching prose, has also the same process with which are the analyzing, interpreting, collection, and collecting information for the students to understand, and the distinguished medium of instructional for the languages. So as what the previous reporter discussed, the prose meant the for learning and the language. It is because prose also consider the grammar structure, the grammar correctness, and the grammar rule of the certain language. So therefore, teaching prose is one of the ways for the teachers to teach a language. Like for example, the teachers wanted to teach the English language, then the concept of prose will be help the teacher to determine if the students can able the language accordingly, and able to understand the language properly, especially its usage. So prose meant for learning language. Teaching prose means teaching with comprehension. The power comprehension can be promoted through reading and listening. So here are the specific aims of prose: to change according to the matter, like biography, play, story, and essays. So to change accordingly to the matter, like biography, play, story, and essay. How are we going to assist students regarding with this in the future? how are we going to assist the students regarding for this one. So the assessment will determine if the students can understand the nature, the concept, and the rule is writing a biography. Same rules with the other subjects. With our the play and essay, and also the the play and the essay. And I also have here the 5 practical tips for ensuring great assessment in teaching prose. So this is now the actual assessment for the students' learning and development for first development. So first, this is the look at the unit hospitality. Second would be write clear and specific instruction to students. Third would be provide clear guidance to assessor. Fourth would be checklist that ensure the required levels of performance are met. Last would be mapping. So it is to make sure that every item from the assessment has an organized pattern. Like for example, having realization essays on the part of the assessment on where the mechanics is for the teachers to see the instructions, the body, and the conclusions. The new or the new students will answer accordingly. And second would be is to write clear and specific instruction for the students. Obviously, this is for the students to avoid mistake and confusions. Like for example, identifying the next or the given passage as the articles. So the assessment will be for the students to prove that the passage of the text is article that is quick recap or review that an article is under nonfiction because it's supported with um, evidence and facts. The third would be provide clear guidance and assessor, um, and how this is being related to teaching prose. Like for example, the subject of prose is their own perspective or their own understanding. Also making literary pieces under prose, like for example article and essay, but in consideration their rule and its structure. Next would be the checklist that ensure the required levels for performance are met. So make sure to apply all the concept that the students should acquire in every item in the assessment. And the last one would be mapping, which is to the sequence of learning concepts from the basic to complex form. And yeah, I also have the assessment relating to 4 macro skill in teaching prose. Those are reading skills, intensive and extensive reading, listening skills, simple commands instruction, speaking skills, expression for perspective, writing skills, productive skills involving manipulation, structuring, and communicating. So the first would be reading skills. We can be able to assist the students by or they are truly comprehending from the given text or the given story through pointing question. Next is listening skill. We can also be able to assist the students if they can have a recap, recall the story that have heard. Next would be speaking skills. We can able to assist the student if they can speak fluently and according with the proper usage of the language. Same goes with writing skills. We can be able to assist the students if they can write literary pieces in accordance to the proper usage of structure of the language. So in addition, I also have 4 types of assessment here. Those are summative test, diagnostic test, formative test, and benchmark test, which we can apply the motive response, which has the oral test. And the written test and performance test will be our basis if our students really catches during the discussion. And I think that would be all. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day ahead.